this podcast, and we're back with another episode with Supriya Chechi. And today we're going to continue discussing the Gita. And Hare Krishna, Supriya Chechi. I just do
Hare
my
Krishna,
incantation
I'm
also.
happy to be back. Jai Srila Prabhupada. You
Om
want to say
Gyana.
the prayers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Om Gyana ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यो मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मायं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् हे कृष्ण करुण सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कंचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी ऋषभानुस्तु देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंचाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमती भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य शतारिणे श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवसादि गौर भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय श्री बाबा
Okay. Okay. Hare Krishna. So, in this, starting with the 17th verse of the 10th chapter, um, Arjuna is asking, and Krishna is going to reveal or tell more. What we will do is in this section, uh, for example, now 17, 18, and 19. Let's just chant the Sanskrit once and with the English translation and move on to 18 and do the same and do the 19 and do the same, because there's not much more in this section than what is required of this approach. All right.
Mm,
Otherwise, we'll be forever lagging behind with
yeah
this chapter, because it's
okay
a very long chapter. It goes on for 42 verses. Okay. Let's chant together. Katham
कथं विद्यम् अहं
विद्यामहं
योगिन्
योगिम्
त्वं सादा परिचिन्तयन्
परिचिन्तयान्
केषु
केषु केषु
केषु चाभावेषु चिन्तयोऽसि
श्रीभक्ति.
भगवान् मया
Translation. You also read together. O
O
Krishna,
Krishna, O
O
Supreme Mystic,
Supreme Mystic,
how shall
how
I
shall I
constantly think of you
constantly
and
think
how
of
shall I
you,
know you? In
and
what
how
various
shall I
forms
know
are
you?
you to be remembered, O Supreme Personality of God?
Okay, what various forms you to remember. Now, the 18th verse. We will be going back to the purport, but first just
Okay.
let's, yeah, 18. विस्तरेण
विस्तरेणात्मनो योगं
योगं
विभूतिं च जनार्दन
जनार्दन
भूयाः
भूयात्
कथाया तृप्तिर्हि शृण्वतो नास्ति मे मृतम्.
O Janardana.
Krishna, please again describe in
Again,
detail the
please
mystic
describe
power
in
of
detail
your
the mystic power
opulences.
and opulences.
I am
I'm
never
never
satiated in hearing
satiated.
about you. For the more I hear,
The
the
more I
more I
hear,
want
the
to taste
more
the
I
nectar
want
of your
to taste the
words.
nectar of your words. Right, 19. Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Hantate
अन्ता ते कथयिष्यामि
Kathayishyami
दिव्या
Divya
हि आत्मविभूतयः कदा न यातः
Guru
पुरुषे श्रेष्ठा
Sreshta
नास्ति अन्तो
Nasyanto
विस्तारस्य मे.
Vistarasya Me. Translation. The Supreme
Supreme Personality
Personality
God
of
said,
Godhead said,
yes, I
yes,
will
I will
tell
tell
my
you of
splendid
my
manifestations,
splendorous manifestations,
only of those which
but
are found of
only of
Lord
those which are
limitless.
prominent to Arjuna, for my opulence is limitless. Right. Now, going back to the 17th and to the purport, as is stated in the previous chapter, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is covered by his Yoga Maya. Only surrendered souls and devotees can see him. Now, Arjuna is convinced that his friend Krishna is the Supreme Godhead, but he wants to know the general process by which the all pervading Lord can be understood by the common man. Common men, including the demons and atheists, cannot know Krishna because he is guarded by his Yoga Maya energy. Actually, I'm surprised at this statement, and I'm even wondering if it is some editorial mistake, because there is Mahamaya and there is Yogamaya. And now, usually, what Prabhupada, when he makes the distinctions between the two, what he says is that the common men, including the demons and atheists, are covered by Maya or Mahamaya. That's why they don't come in contact and not aware of the Lord. Yoga Maya comes and covers the Supreme Lord and his activities only in the case of very elevated personalities like his own mother, Yashoda. When she's to make her forget. And Yogamaya's role is to increase the intensity of the Leela. So, for example, Yogamaya comes and covers Mother Yashoda after she is looked into his mouth, and when he's eating mud as a baby, and she sees these, the 14 universes and everything happening inside the mouth, and she gets so taken aback, she swoons. But when she retains external consciousness, she has no memory of that. Why? Because Yogamaya is used to cover her. And she once again imagines that he's just a naughty boy and not God or anything. And she runs after him with a stick to spank him. This is to intensify the Leela, which he enjoys being treated like a naughty boy, although he's a supreme personality. So in many other places, I have come across this distinction that Yogamaya is used to cover the very elevated persons like the supreme personality's close associates and his family members, so that they forget temporarily or most of the time that he is actually God, and they just treat him like an ordinary small child. And this he likes because it enhances the Leela and the fun and the mischief. Whereas Maya or Mahamaya is what covers the conditioned soul, the common person, the atheist, the demon who can't see God when God is there. So I'm very surprised with this particular sentence. I don't know if it's a mistake just with this edition, or I'll also do a little checking up, because it doesn't tally with what Prabhupada says in other places. Anyway, these questions are asked by Arjuna for their benefit. The superior devotee is concerned not only for his own understanding, but for the understanding of all mankind. So Arjuna, out of his mercy, because he's a Vaishnava, a devotee, is opening for the common man the understanding of the all-pervasiveness of the Supreme Lord. He addresses Krishna specifically as Yogin, because Krishna is the master of the Yogamaya energy, by which he is covered and uncovered to the common man. Very strange. Let me just check in the index, where there are like general index, why yoga, and under yoga maya, let me see.
Index of the Gita.
Yeah, right at the end, there is yoga ruda, yoga maya, knowledge about Lord covered by 10.17, Krishna covered by, that is in 7.25 and 11.52. Let me just check 7.25 and see what.
I'll have to just get that book, because in
No,
the
okay,
website it's not there. One second. I'll just come now. Okay, Supriya, one
okay,
second.
yeah.
This is which were 1017.
1017 is what we are reading now, but then there is 7.25.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh wait,
I
I
can.
think.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay.
Now here also Yogamaya is being referred to as covering the eyes or the vision of the ordinary person. Okay, wait once more. Uh,
Oh.
Let me try now 11.52. Can you, within Veda base, do you know how to type a question?
Question.
No, no, there is a way, like the difference between Yoga Maya and Mahamaya, right? I mean, their functions. Okay, and now mind if you
Okay,
can't.
okay.
Mm,
I don't know if that thing is there in Veda, but let me just check.
yeah, yeah, this is confirmed in the Vedic literature.
Let me see in Google what it's
Google,
saying.
yeah, Vani quotes Google. I'll also try in
Yeah.
my
Yoga Maya and
Mahamaya. Difference in their functions and purpose that they serve.
see what.
I will try on my phone Yoga Maya and Mahamaya. Vani quotes, meaning Prabhupada's quotes.
So there's this website, Hare Krishna Movement, every town village.
Yeah,
It's saying here, Yogamaya is a name of the internal potency that makes the Lord forget himself and become an object of love for his pure
that's
devotee
right.
in different
That's
transcendental
what I
melodies.
was telling you with Nanda,
Yeah.
Yashoda, and Nanda. Yeah, okay. Then,
And uh,
but what
okay.
about Mahamaya?
Uh, and
Yeah,
Mahamaya, yeah, here it is. So that is yo okay. So here Prabhupada has mentioned something here. So Tamal, so guest, how we can we recognize Yoga Maya? I do not know the question. Yoga Maya, the Prabhupada says Yoga Maya means that which connects you. Yoga means connection when you are gradually advancing Krishna consciousness, that is the action of Yoga Maya. And when you are gradually forgetting Krishna, that is the action of Mahamaya.
that's it. You see,
Yeah,
Yoga Maya is both are the internal potency of the Lord. Yoga Maya functions in spiritual context. Like I said, like you read a
oh,
little earlier, to enhance the loving dealings with his
yeah,
close associates. But
yes, yes,
Mahamaya is what is usually what comes into play to cover the ordinary conditioned soul, the common man, and make it not possible for him or her to see God. So I'm
yeah,
surprised by this. Anyway, all we can do is to keep it in mind and carry on. It seems in the Bhagavad Gita, in three places or two places, 7.25 and 10.17, which we are reading now in the purport, Prabhupada has used Yoga Maya in the sense of Mahamaya, demons,
yeah.
atheists. That's not how it's usually explained. Okay,
So,
never mind. Yeah, we'll just have to leave it.
so there's like apparently this particular. Can you see this
Yeah, I
screen?
can see. Yeah, I can see.
So there's
As
apparently there's a conversation between a guest Prabhupada
Krishna,
and Tamal Krishna,
Krishna Maharaj. Yeah,
where he explains this whole thing actually. Yoga, so
yeah.
like
Read that.
yeah. So he says, Prabhupada says yoga. So the guest asks, how do we recognize? How may we recognize Yoga Maya? So
Uh-huh.
Prabhupada says, I do not know what is your question. Tamal Krishna Goswami says he wants to know how we may recognize Yoga Maya. How we may know. Prabhupada, Yogamaya. Yogamaya means that which connects you. Yoga means connection. When you are being gradually advanced in Krishna consciousness, that is the action of Yogamaya. And when you are gradually forgetting Krishna, that is the action of Mahamaya. Maya is acting upon you. The one is dragging you, and one is pushing you the opposite way. Yoga Maya. So just like the example that you are always under the laws of government, you cannot deny if you say, I don't agree to abide by the laws of government. That is not possible. But when you are a criminal, you are under the police laws, and when you are a gentleman, you are under civil laws. The laws are there. In any situation, you have to obey the laws of government. If you remain as a civilized citizen, then you are always protected by the civil law. But as soon as you are against the state, the criminal law
Yes.
will act upon you. So the criminal activities of law is Mahamaya, threefold miseries always putting in some sort of misery. And the civil department of Krishna, Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam, you
Uh-huh.
simply go on increasing the, I mean to say, depth of the ocean of joy. Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam, that is the difference. Yoga Maya and Mahamaya. Yoga Maya is dot dot dot. Yoga Maya, the original Yoga Maya, is Krishna's internal potency, that is Radharani. And Mahamaya is external potency, Durga. This Durga is explained in Brahma Samhita, Srishti, Sthiti, Prahlaya, Sadhana, Saktir, Eka, Chayeva, Yashya, Bhuvanani, Bhivarti, Durga. In Brahma Samhita, text chapter 5, text 44, Durga is the superintending goddess of this whole
Hmm.
material world. Everything is going on under his under her control. Prakriti is energy. Energy is accepted as feminine. Just like these materialistic persons, they are also working under some energy.
Yeah.
What is that energy? The sex life. That's all. They're troubling so much. Oh, at night I'll have sex life. That's all. That is the energy. You Yan Maitunadi Grahamedi Sukam Hi Tucham Srimad Bhagavatam 7:9:45. The life is based on the sex, that's all. Everyone is working so hard, accumulating in sex, culminating in sex, that's all. This is material life, so energy, the material energy means sex, so that is energy. If a person is working in the factory, if you stop sex, he cannot work. And when he is unable to enjoy sex life, then he takes intoxication. This is materialistic life. So energy must be there. Here in the material world, the energy is sex and the
Yeah.
spiritual world, yeah. So that's and in the end
Okay.
he says here the love is he talks about this and then that is the misrepresentation of love. That is lust. So love and lust. Love is yoga maya and lust is mahamaya. That's all.
Aha. Love is Yoga Maya, lust is Mahamaya. So there is a difference he's making.
Mm.
Okay. Was Arjuna the next question also? Prabhupada, can you explain Mahamaya and Yoga Maya? Was Arjuna under Yoga Maya or Mahamaya? Prabhupada is asking again, what? Upendra, how is Prabhupada? Because he is a living entity, he is marginal. Okay, no, Arjuna is not a good question, good example because Arjuna is a close associate of the Lord and he is taking the role of a conditioned soul, no? Okay, but basic the difference is usually that Mahamaya is when in conditioned life we move away from Krishna because our vision is clouded, by our attachment to, like as he said, sex life and whatnot. But Yoga Maya usually comes into play only to bring us closer to Krishna, and especially in the case of those Leelas where his family members forget that he's God and spank him, hit him, tie him up. All this is because their consciousness that he is the Supreme Personality is all covered over by Yoga Maya. This is the general understanding. But in these purports in the Bhagavad Gita, it seems that Prabhupada is using the word Yoga Maya in the sense of Mahamaya. Okay,
Mm.
as long as the background understanding is clear to you, we can proceed.
Okay.
Is that okay? Now,
Yeah.
verse 18, can you read the verse
Yeah.
18 of the 10th chapter? The purport, please. Just the purport.
Uh, yeah. So a similar statement was made to Sutta Goswami by the rishis of Naimisharanya, headed by Saunaka. The statement is Vayam tu na vitrpyama uttama shloka vikrame yat srinavatam rasajnanam swadu swadu pade pade. One can never be satiated even though one continuously hears the transcendental pastimes of Krishna, who is glorified by excellent prayers. Those who have entered into a transcendental relationship with Krishna relish at every step the descriptions of the pastimes of the Lord. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 1, Text 19. Thus Arjuna is interested in hearing about Krishna and specifically how he remains as the all pervading Supreme Lord.
Okay,
Oh,
as
yeah, there's more.
yeah.
Uh,
Now,
uh,
as far as Amritam
now,
nectar.
Now, as far as Amritam nectar is concerned, any narration or statement concerning Krishna is just like nectar, and this nectar can be perceived by practical experience. Modern stories, fiction, and histories are different from the transcendental pastimes of the Lord in that one will tire of hearing mundane stories, but one never tires of hearing about Krishna. It is for this reason only that the history of the whole universe is replete with references to the pastimes of the incarnations of Godhead. The Puranas are histories of bygone ages that relate the pastimes of the various incarnations of the Lord. In this way, the reading matter remains forever fresh despite repeated readings.
Mm, okay, Amritam nectar is concerned. Any narration concerning Krishna is just like nectar. So even repeated reading of the transcendental pastimes never gets boring. It's fresh because we are connecting with Krishna. What is your take on this as a young person? Do you feel this really applies, or it depends on the level of our advancement and how much we have developed taste for? Because it's a fact, even if we like Krishna and Krishna stories, we may also have a certain sharp interest in
Yeah,
certain other areas of mundane literature, right?
yeah,
Like, I mean, crime stories, wildlife. There are so many things that we may still be very much attracted to. A good intellectual stimulating discussion, even if it's about a politician. So many times this just stimulates and we like to listen a good analysis of the mundane world. That's nothing to do with Krishna, but it still
Yeah.
I certainly do find it helps to
Yeah.
understand the bigger picture, and it also stimulates mentally.
Mm.
Yeah, so I think Prabhupada is talking either about a very simple and deep faith in Krishna. For some people, it comes right at the start, or else he's talking of a very high level.
What is that? What is that verse? I'm not like I keep hearing it like in wisdom sages they say it, but they don't say the verse, but they quote it from somewhere. But they say like there's a verse right which says, "Out of many thousands of devotees, one may pursue knowledge enough that one of the
Bahunam
many that."
janmanamante jnanavan mam prapadyate.
Oh, okay,
Bahunam
okay.
janmanamante jnanavan
Oh,
mam prapadyate. One of them out of, yeah, so many
yeah.
thousands of, not
One
births of people, there will be one who will pursue me, knowledge of me, and out of them, there will again be one who will actually realize
one
me
will
in truth.
actually. So
That's the
that
verse.
yeah, that even like I think Keshav Maharaj also said that in one recent lecture I was listening to. He said
Okay.
like I think he was discussing this with like all the people there. So he's like so that but he's like but that does not mean that all of us like you know say oh no so then what's the point then? If there's only one person gonna
That's true.
there's no point if there's only one person that's going to get this or it's but we should be fortunate that we are already in the state that we are in right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah.
He mentions that.
Actually, if you look
But
at it, yeah,
yeah.
go on. I shouldn't interrupt you. You complete
No,
first.
no. So
I will
actually,
add something.
so the thing is that I mean, I heard this from people also, like where they will say that yeah, it's just stories in the end of the day, and whether or not we know that this thing happened or not, who knows, whether this happened. At least, like from a human point of view, it's some of the stories are esoteric, that are kind of like mythological and like almost like fairy tale type stories
Too,
or
they seem
so
far-fetched and hard to
far-fetched.
believe.
Yeah.
Uh,
But then also the same time the stories itself, if you take it, if you take if you take the stories of God literally, then I mean, there's that verse even in the Bhagavatam also where I think Sukadev or I think Sukadev Goswami, yeah, tells Parikshit Maharaj that people who imitate like I think what is it the actions of
great men,
I think
great
great
men.
men are saying if I have that verse also like
Yeah,
I
you
just
mean they are automatically followed, or we should not imitate
uh,
artificially?
yeah, we shouldn't imitate like artificially the actions of great men, like
Right,
because
right.
we will fall down this thing I wrote it down
Okay.
somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah,
got it.
so that let me just see I think that verse is actually it's actually a good
A Bhagavatam verse you're talking
yeah
about?
Bhagavatam verse, yeah. Parikshit, that's not this. Oh, I can't find it. Okay, I'll have to maybe I'll check it in later on. I'll see.
Okay, now mind. What I wanted to add to that Bahunam
Yeah, yeah,
Janman was, meaning it's kind of scary when we hear it because we feel then we don't stand any chance. But if you
yeah.
look, forget about the devotees for the time being, and you look like from a top perspective at people in general, they may be religious. Firstly, huge number are not religious. Then they may be religious, but they may be very satisfied with a level which is what we can call demigod worship. They
Mm,
can't make a distinction. They don't have any special attraction for Krishna, or hearing from Krishna, or hearing about Krishna, or even Vishnu. You know, their whole mentality is what is generally called karma kandi or karma kanda mentality, or like it's business. It's not bhakti, based on fear. So to a great extent, the Indian religious population is very much like that. They've been trained and conditioned, and the whole culture supports it. So there you have a whole lot of thousands of people. Then amongst those thousands, you may have one somewhere who actually really wants to know what is what. Know what is the difference between this demigod and that demigod, and where does Vishnu stand in all this. Most don't want to know. They just want to be told what to do, and they keep going their entire lifetime like that. Now, amongst those who really want to know, not everybody is going to come to Krishna, because they may be quite happy to know, but to know an impersonal form. And there may be 100 and like 500 of that type. And amongst those who at least want to know and understand things through the path of Gyan, one only in reality gets complete knowledge and understanding of Krishna as the absolute truth. That's the meaning. If you look at it from like a top angle or view of the whole world, or like just our country, India, this verse makes sense. Amongst those thousands of people who are prayerful and worshipful and want to be pious and don't want to do wrong, and most just want to be told what to do. Very few are going to inquire what is what. And even if they inquire, they probably won't get anywhere, because many times the pujari doesn't have any answer. Why is he asking the family to do this and do like that, and what does this mantra mean? He himself doesn't know. He's in it for a livelihood. Someone taught him and he just repeats it. So then amongst those who want to know and do get somewhere with their knowledge, practically only one probably will come to. But when it comes to bhakti, I think it is far more attractive. Firstly, there is this mercy element, all kinds of adjustments
And
that the Lord makes.
simplicity
Simple,
also of
satisfying,
uh,
simple, attractive even to a non-intellectual and non-jnani person. Either the prasadam is attractive, or the look of the Lord and the alankar is attractive, or the music is attractive. All of them may not be in it, for the books and for
I
the philosophy.
I found that verse that
Yeah, go on.
so this Sukadeva Goswami tells Parikshit in Canto 10, chapter
Yeah,
33, text 29, where he says the status of powerful controllers is not harmed by any apparently audacious transgression of morality we may see in them, for they are just like fire which devours everything fed into it and remains unpolluted. So this is
see,
the so this is like basically the question before this was
yeah,
uh, Parikshit was asking him about this he was explaining about the Leela pastimes of Krishna and the gopis,
right,
and like they were saying, by like asking question like he asked the question, "O Brahmana, O Brahmana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Lord of the Universe, has descended to this earth along with his plenary portion to destroy irreligion and re-establish religious principles. Indeed, he is the original speaker, follower, and guardian of moral laws. How then could he have violated them by touching other men's wives?" So he says this, and then in response to that question,
is
Sukadev
this
Swami says, "Status of powerful controllers is not harmed by any apparently audacious transgression of morality we may see in them, for they are just like fire which devours everything fed into it and remains unpolluted."
right?
So, so it's like we can't. So the idea is that, I mean, even if you take the leelas, or if you take certain things that we see in Krishna's pastimes as being little bit like um contrary or maybe hypocritical and stuff. So
Yeah,
he gives the reason as to why, like like the
uh-huh,
powerful is not. It's like the status of those people is not harmed by
right.
any, like any audacious transgressions or morality you may see in them. It's like
Yeah,
fire which like anything comes into fire like
it
a fly,
burns it up.
it burns
Yeah,
it and then
yeah.
it remains unpolluted basically or something like
Good analogy. I think that's a good
that.
analogy to describe the power and position of the Supreme Lord. Okay,
Yeah,
now I'll read the
yeah,
purport to verse
yeah, yeah,
19.
yeah.
Yeah, 19. Purport. It's not possible to comprehend the greatness of Krishna and his opulences. Correct, absolutely. The senses of the individual soul are limited and do not permit him and the totality of Krishna's affairs. Still, the devotees try to understand Krishna, but not on the principle that they will be able to understand Krishna fully at any specific time or in any state of life. Rather, the very topics of Krishna are so relishable that they appear to the devotees as nectar. Thus, the devotees enjoy them. In discussing Krishna's opulences and his diverse energies, the pure devotees take transcendental pleasure. Therefore, they want to hear and discuss them. Krishna knows that living entities do not understand the extent of his opulences. He therefore agrees to state only the principal manifestations of his different energies. The word pradhanyata, principle, the most important or the essential, that's what it means. It's very important because we can understand only a few of the principal details of the Supreme Lord. For his features are unlimited. It's not possible to understand them all. And Vibhuti, as used in this verse, refers to the opulences by which he controls the whole manifestation. In the Amara Kosha dictionary, it is stated that Vibhuti indicates an exceptional opulence. Vibhuti. Okay. Normally we say his greatness, his glory, his glories. So Vibhuti as used in this verse refers to the opulences by which he controls the whole manifestation. Okay, the last para, the impersonalist or pantheist cannot understand the exceptional opulences of the Supreme Lord, nor the manifestations of his divine energies. Both in the material world and the spiritual world, his energies are distributed in every variety of manifestation. Now, Krishna is describing what can be directly perceived by the common man. Thus, parts of his variegated energy is described in this way. All right. Uh, right. So he is now going to launch into, verses 20 to 30. I am part of this, and I am this amongst these, and I am this amongst, like that. So what we will do is, let's just chant verses 20 to 30 with just, and following each verse, chanting once, we just read the translation and move forward and then come back to the purports.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. 20. Ahamatma
Ma
gudaki
Rakesha Sarvabhutashaya Sthitah Aham
aham
Zadischa Madhyam Cha Bhutanam Anta
anta
Evacha.
evacha. I am the super soul, O Arjuna, seated in the hearts of all living entities. I am the beginning, the middle, and the end of all beings. Right. Now, next. Adityanamaham Vishnu Jyotisham
Jyotistam Ravir
Raviram
Amshumam
Shumam
Marichir Marutam
Marutam
Asmi
Asmi
Nakshatranam
Nakshatranam
Aham Sashi.
Shashi. Okay, of the Adityas, I am Vishnu. How many Adityas? I think there are 10 or 12 Adityas. 12. And I am Vishnu. This is not as in our Vishnu, but this is another personality called Vishnu, one of the sons of Aditi.
Oh,
Of lights, I am the radiant sun. Right. Of the Maruts, I am Marichi, and among the stars, I am the moon. Next, 22. Vedanam Sama Vedosmi.
Vedosmi Devanam Asmi Vasavaha Indriyanam Manashasmi
Manaschasmi Bhutanam
Bhutanam Asmi
Asmi
Chetana.
Chetana. Of the Vedas, I am the Sama Veda. Of the demigods, I am Indra, the king of heaven. And of the senses, I am the mind. And in living beings, I am the living force. Right. 23. Rudranam Shankaraschasmi.
Saraswasmi Videsho
Vedeshu
Yaksharakshasam
Yaksharakshasam.
Vasunam
Vasunam
Pavakashasmi
Pavakashasmi.
Meruhu Sikarinam
Merushikarinam.
Aham.
Of all the Rudras, I am Lord Shiva. Of the Yakshas and Rakshasas, I am the Lord of Wealth or Kuvera. Of the Vasus, I am fire or Agni. And of the mountains, I am Meru. Right. Now, 24. Purodhasam cha
Purodasam cha Mukhyam
mukyam
Mam
mam vidhi
Vidhi
parta
Partha
brahaspatim
Brahaspatim Senaninam
senaninam
Aham
aham
Skandaha
skandha
Sarasam
sarasam
Asmi
asmi
Sagaraha.
sakshat. O priest, O Arjuna, know me to be the chief, that is Brahaspati, chief of all the priests or the pujaris. Of generals I am Kartikeya, and of bodies of water I am the ocean. Then Maharshinam Bhragur Aham
Yeah,
Giram
Maharshinam Bhrigur Aham Giram Asmi Ekam Aksharam
Aksharam
Yajnanam
Yajnanam
Japa
Jape
Yagnosmi
Nosmi
Stavaranam Himalayah.
Of the great sages, I am Bhrigu Maharaj, right. Of vibrations, I am the transcendental Om. Of sacrifices or yajnas, I am the chanting of the holy name Japa. Nice. And of immovable things, I am the Himalayas. Next.
Ashwataha
Ashvata
sarva
sarva
vrikshanam
vrikshanam
devarshinam cha naradaha
devarshinaam
Gandharvanam Chitrarataha Siddhanam
Siddhanam
Kapilo Muni.
Kapilo Muni. Of all trees, I am the banyan tree. And of the sages among the demigods, I am Narada. Of the Gandharvas, I am Chitraratha, and among perfected beings, I am the sage Kapila. Text 27.
Uchchaishravasam
Uchchaishravasam
Ashwanam
Ashwanam
Vidhi
Vidhi
Mam Amruto Bhavam Airavatam Gajendranam
Gajendranam
Naranam Cha
Naranam
Naradipam.
Charanadipam. Of horses know me to be the Uchchaishrava, produced during the churning of the Milky Ocean for the nectar. Of elephants, lordly elephants, I am Airavat, and among men I am the monarch. Right, 28.
Ayudhanam Aham
Ayudhanam aham
Vajram
vajram
Dhenunam Asmi
dhenunamasti
Kamaduk
kamaduk
Prajanasasmi
prajanashchasmi
Kandarpaha Sarpanam Asmi
sarvanamasmi
Vasukihi.
vasuki. Of weapons, I am the thunderbolt. Among cows, I am the Surabhi cow. Of causes for the procreation, I am Kandarpa, the god of love, and of serpents, I am Vasuki. Okay, 29.
Anantaksasmi
Anantascha
Naganam Varuno Yadasamaham
Varunasmaham
Pitranamaryamachasmi
Pitranamaryamachasmi
Yamaha
Yamas.
Samyamatam Maham.
And of the many hooded Nagas, I am Ananta. And among the aquatics, I am the demigod Varuna. Of departed ancestors, I am Aryama, and among the dispensers of law, I am Yama, the lord of death. And last one for today, and then we'll start looking at the purports of these.
Prahaladastasmi
Prahaladastasmi
Daityanam
Daityanam
Kalaha
Kala
Kalayatam Maham Mriganam cha Mrigendroham Vainatiyascha Pakshinam.
Among the Daitya demons, I am the devoted Prahalad. Remember, Prahalad was born into a family of demons and the Daitya line. Yeah. Among subduers, I am time. Right. Among beasts, I am the lion. And among birds, I am Garuda. Okay, let's go back to verse 20 and start looking at the purport. Right, we already read the translation. Where he says, I am super soul, I am beginning, the middle, and the end of all beings. You remember earlier in the Bhagavad Gita, in this chapter and in the seventh chapter, Krishna, in the seventh chapter especially, he talks of how, like, if the whole universe is like a string of pearls hung on a string, he is the invisible string on which everything is resting. There's a particular analogy that comes in a verse. And then he's also said, Aham, in this chapter, Aham Sarvasya Prabho Matta Sarvam Pravartate. That is, I am the beginning of everything, I am the end of everything, I am the middle of everything. That's what he's saying. So now he's on Arjuna's request, he's giving specific details. That's what's happening here. He's going to give specific examples, not so much for Arjuna, but for the common man, that the next time we see that object or item, even if it's something very huge, we can make the connection and think of Krishna. So first, starting from a more abstract way, he says he is the super soul Arjuna seated in the hearts of. Right, in this purport, it's a long purport, but we can get through it fast. Would you like to read, please?
Yeah. In this verse, Arjuna is addressed as Gudakesha, which means one who has conquered the darkness of sleep. For those who are sleeping in the darkness of ignorance, it is not possible to understand how the Supreme Personality of Godhead manifests himself in various ways in the material and spiritual worlds. Thus, this address by Krishna to Arjuna is significant. Because Arjuna is above such darkness, the personality of Godhead agrees to describe his various opulences. Krishna first informs Arjuna that he is the soul of the entire cosmic manifestation by dint of his primary expansion. Before the material creation, the Supreme Lord, by his plenary expansion, accepts the Purusha incarnation, and from him everything begins. Therefore, he is Atma, the soul of the Mahat Tattva, the universal elements. the total material energy is not the cause of the creation. Actually, the Mahavishnu enters into the Mahatattva, the total material energy. He is the soul. When Mahavishnu enters into the manifested universes, he again manifests himself as the supersoul in each and every entity. We have experienced that the personal body of the living entity exists due to the presence of the spiritual spark. Without the existence of the spiritual spark, the body cannot develop. Similarly, the material manifestation cannot develop unless the Supreme Soul Krishna enters. As stated in the Subhala Upanishad, Prakriti Adi Sarva Bhutantar Yami Sarva Seshi Cha Narayanaha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is existing as the Super Soul in all manifested universes. The three Purusha avatars are described in Srimad Bhagavatam. They are also described in the Narada Pancharatra, one of the Satvata Tantras. Vishnu's tu Trini Rupani Purushakyani Ato Viduhu. The Supreme Personality of Godhead manifests three features as Karunadakshay Vishnu, Garbhodakshay Vishnu, and Shirodakshay Vishnu. In this material manifestation, the Mahavishnu or Karunadakshay Vishnu is described in the Brahma Samhita, chapter 5, text 47. Yaha Karanarnava Jale Bhajati Sma Yoga Nidram. The Supreme Lord Krishna, the cause of all causes, lies down in the cosmic ocean as Mahavishnu. Therefore, the Supreme Personality of God is the beginning of this universe, the maintainer of the universal manifestations, and the end of all energy.
Okay, now regarding these three Vishnus, the Karanodakashayi Vishnu or the Karan, the causal, the original Vishnu is that Vishnu at the time of creation. There's a whole lot of water and he manifests and comes and lies down on the water. So he's the origin of everything. Now from his breathing comes many universes in which the Garbhodakashayi Vishnu comes and lies down
Manifest
in the water. That is meaning that is the Vishnu from whose Garbha or navel the lotus
navel.
comes, and then Brahma is seated, the four-headed Brahma, and then a lot of knowledge or wisdom is imparted to Brahma through the agency of sound, and then Brahma starts the job of creation. And the last one, the Shirodakashayi Vishnu, lying in the Milky Ocean, is also known as is non-different from the Paramatma. And the Shirodakashayi Vishnu is that Vishnu to whom the demigods go running every time there is a demonic power that is disturbing their peace of mind. You hear even at the start of the Krishna book, they're all standing at the edge of the Milky Ocean and they are making their petition. And
Yeah.
the sleeping Vishnu gets up from his transcendental sleep and starts saying, I will appear, and so justice will be done, and so on. That is regarding the three Vishnus. You will keep coming across mention of the three difference. The Karanodakashayi, that is the original cause of everything. The Garbhodakashayi, that is from whose Garbha navel Brahma, the lotus. And then comes the Shirodakashayi lying on the Milky Ocean. Now, regarding this word Gudakesha, that's another name for Arjuna. And the reason he is given that is because apparently he was such an expert archer that even pitch darkness he
He
could
could
shoot
shoot.
successfully. So he was given the name Gudakesha, meaning darkness did not baffle or confuse him. And so at a more philosophical level, meaning someone who has the potential to overcome the darkness of ignorance. Therefore, Krishna is taking the trouble to preach all this to him. Now, in the purport to verse 21, I will read, there are 12 Adityas, of which Krishna is the principal Aditya. Oh, right. Now, wait. So, there are 12 Adityas, of which Krishna is the principal. I thought, all right, in the actual verse, it says Vishnu, Adityanam Aham Vishnu. So, this is the same Vishnu as in Krishna Vishnu, Avatar, and so on. So there are 12 Adityas, meaning the children of Aditi, of which Krishna is the principal. Now, exactly how that relationship comes about, I can't answer. I don't know. I think a
Aditi
different
is like the mother of that Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyakashipu, right? That
Aditi
is
and Kashyapa Muni. No,
Kashyap. Yeah. Oh,
no. Wait 1 minute. Aditi and Kashyapa Muni are the parents of the great. 1 second.
Because I thought they were, I thought Aditi was the mother of those
No,
two
no, that is the
Hiranyakashipu.
great,
Yeah.
the person, the not coming to mind, the incarnation of the Lord who preaches a lot to
Okay.
his own mother. Wait,
It's a
uh,
different person.
yeah, Hiranya. See, Hiranyakashipu's mother is Diti.
Diti.
There is
Okay, okay.
Aditi and Diti. Diti
Hmm.
is the line, mother, the woman or the womb from which all the demonic line comes.
Okay.
Diti. Okay, Diti and Aditi. Aditi is the other line, also with Kashyap as a husband. So Diti
Okay.
is why the Daitya demons. Prahlad is born in the line of the Daitya demons, and Diti is
Hmm.
supposed to have created someone like Hiranyakashipu, because it is given in the Bhagavatam. She pestered her husband for intercourse at a
Hmm.
very inauspicious time in
Inauspicious.
the evening or something, right?
Shiva, something about something in
Yes.
Shiva. It was a time where Shiva was, I think, Shiva and the
Shiva.
ghosts. It said the Shiva and the ghosts were roaming around at that time. They were like,
Okay.
I think that's. I'm not sure there.
The answer. All right. So Diti is the mother of Hiranyakashipu. Aditi and Kashyapa Muni are. Oh dear, I should have checked this again. Wait.
Yeah, yeah, that's fine. Because the names are like little similar, no? Aditi
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah. Mhm. No, I am searching for the
yes.
personality of Godhead whom they created. There's a whole lot in the Bhagavatam about it. Why am I not able to get that name right now? Wait, Aditi and Kashyapa Muni create.
So they're saying generally Aditya the 12 Naman consists of Vivaswan, Aryaman, Twashta, Savitr, Bhaga, Datta, Mitra, Varuna, Amsa, Pushan, Indra, and
Indra
Vishnu.
and Vishnu in the form of
The
Vamana.
form of
That's
in the
right.
form of Vina.
That's right. Aditi and Kashyap give birth to Vamana, the dwarf god. Right. All right. So there are 12 Adityas, of which Krishna is the principal among all the luminaries shining in the sky. The sun is the chief. And in the Brahma Samhita, the sun is accepted as the glowing eye of the Supreme Lord. There are 50 varieties of wind blowing in space, and of these winds, the controlling deity Marichi represents Krishna. Okay. Among the stars, mind you, here the moon is not considered a planet, it is considered a star, according to Vedic cosmology, which is quite different from what secular Western astronomers think. The moon is the most prominent at night, and thus the moon represents Krishna. It appears from this verse that the moon is one of the stars, therefore, the stars that twinkle in the sky also reflect the light of the sun. The theory that there are many suns within the universe is not accepted by Vedic literature. Anyway, the sun is one, and as by the reflection of the sun, the moon illuminates, so also the stars twinkle because it's a reflected light of the moon and the reflected light of the sun, and the moon is also considered one of those stars. So, Bhagavad Gita indicates herein that the moon is one of the stars. The twinkling stars are not suns but are similar to the moon. Right. The next purport, which is a short one, the 22nd verse. The difference between matter and spirit has is that matter has no consciousness like the living entity. Therefore, this consciousness is supreme and eternal. Consciousness cannot be produced by a combination of matter. I'm not sure why he is giving this in the purport, because the verse says, of all the Vedas, I am the Sam Veda, of the demigods, I am Indra. Not surprising, because Indra is the most prominent of the demigods, king of the heavenly planets, king of heaven.
So here in the translation, I think he's put in bracket here consciousness. Is
See, that's right, that's right. That's the reason. Correct.
that's
Of the senses, I am the mind. Well, naturally, because of all the senses, the mind is the most important, and it's the sense that can be used in our Krishna consciousness to control and tame the other senses. If mentally we are convinced, then we can tame the tongue, tame the genitals, tame eyes, what we see, what we hear, etc., and be selective and be able to discriminate. and to only that which is favorable for our spiritual life. And in living beings, I am the living force consciousness. Bhutanam asmi chetana. Okay, that's where this is coming from, this particular purport. And in living beings, I am the living force or consciousness. 23 purport. There are 11 Rudras, of whom Shankara or Lord Shiva is predominant. He is the incarnation of the Supreme Lord in charge of the mode of ignorance in the universe. Right, the leader of the Yakshas and Rakshasas is Kuvera. So Kuvera again comes in the line of this Yakshas and Rakshasas. But he is given the role of being the god of wealth and the master treasurer of the demigods. And is a representation of the Supreme Lord. Meru is a mountain famed for its rich natural sources. So, of the Rudras, I am Lord Shiva. Of the Yakshas and Rakshasas, I am the Lord of Wealth, Kuvera. Of the Vasus, I am Fire, Agni. And of mountains, I am Meru. Okay, we'll stop here because it's 6 o'clock. And carry on with the purports from 24 next
24.
time. I'm just trying to recall in your Bhagavatam reading, there is a sage and there is this wife. The sage undertakes all kinds of austerities. The wife undertakes all kinds of austerities and begs him to give her a son. The son is a supreme personality. It is not Aditi and Kashyap, but why
Is
is
it
that?
that is it the like the previous lives of Devaki and Vasudev?
No,
Is it
not
that?
like that. There's a whole section in the Bhagavatam, that particular personality of Godhead.
Because I think when it came to Devaki and Vasudev, I think they did some austerities in their previous lives, and then uh, and because of that, I think the Lord is pleased with them and said that he'll be born to them. I think in their next life or something. Not sure
No,
that.
yeah, but I am meaning uh, another couple like this, if not them, who produce a particular. um,
Aditi, I think Diti and I mean the other one was like more of that can they wanted to I mean she wanted to have that intercourse I think but I don't know if
No,
that's
no,
not
not that line. I'm just meaning that there is another. It is prominent in the Bhagavatam. It's not coming to my mind.
was it in the 10th canto.
Not it, and it comes much earlier.
Oh.
Uh, so it's clearly not Kashyapa and Aditi. Which Muni is it? She does lots of austerities. Finally, he agrees to give her a son. That son,
Oh,
you
I
know
think
who I mean?
I in the fourth. I think it was in the fourth
That's
canto.
right.
Maybe?
Yeah,
That
just check that. Just check. He turns out to be
Kap,
a
Ka-
spiritual preacher. He preaches
before
to his mother,
Kapila Muni.
Kapila. Exactly.
Kapila.
Kapila Muni. Kapila Muni. And Kapila's, 1 minute, Kapila's parentage. Exactly, Kapila Muni.
Kapila Muni. That where he preaches to the mother, right? And that the whole
Right, right.
he preaches mostly that Sankhya philosophy to his mother.
Kardama Muni and Devahut.
Devahut. Yeah,
Devahut.
yeah,
Yeah. I was
yeah, yeah,
trying to get the name of
yeah,
Devahut.
yeah.
She was the daughter of the great Swayambhu Manu. She was
Bible
married
money.
off to Kardama Muni, who was extremely austere.
Yeah.
She does a lot of austerities to please him, becomes very emaciated, and then asks for a boon of a son, that she wants a son. So he, through his magical powers, Kardama Muni creates,
This
uh,
like palace types, the celestial
yeah,
palace type thing. Yeah,
everything that is conducive for romance, and
yeah.
he changes his appearance, she changes her appearance, and that is how they interact and they produce Lord Kapila. And Kapila then grows up into, it's like another incarnation of the Lord, and he preaches and he is like
Sankhya.
a guru to his mother.
He preaches some, I think, Sankhya philosophy, isn't there, right? Or is it?
There
What
are
did?
two Kapilas,
Oh, oh
yeah,
yeah,
don't
yeah,
just, but there are more. There's one, yes, Kapila Muni, definitely. Even this Kapila talks Sankhya philosophy, but there is another Kapila Muni
yeah.
in the lineage who is a character who creates confusion. That's why always
The fake
is
Kapila,
fake.
they
Exactly,
somebody, yeah.
exactly. Fake one. That's why we are told not to be confused with the other Kapila. Okay. So can we stop here today and
Yeah,
we'll catch up again next week?
next
Okay.
week, yeah.
Thank you. Hari Bol, Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Bye. Take care.
Bye.